All right, welcome to RezoBiz, episode number 2 of the People's Choice build. And this week, we'll be revealing which one of these woods that you, the Dobro people, have chosen. And then we have 2 other choices we need to make today. Hi, I'm Byrl with Byrl Guitars, and welcome to RezoBiz, where everything is greater with a resonator. All right, here we go. 5 woods. We had the hackberry, spalted hackberry. We had the butternut, the walnut, the Birdseye Maple, and the limba. And so here is your People's Choice reveal. Place number 3 was the black, or the not black. This is very much white. Birdseye Maple came in 3rd place, so that one is out. Number 2 was the black limba, and this is going to make eventually a very nice guitar. Somebody had a very decided idea, a very detailed idea of how this could look, and I agree very much. This is going to be a good, beautiful guitar one day, but not this time. And then that was 2nd place. 1st place was our hackberry, spalted hackberry, which I'm very excited about. Something I didn't mention in the last video was that I can run the lacquer thinner over this all I want, but you just can't see what it really looks like until you've got the gloss on it. And then of course I imagine it with a gloss. It doesn't have to be a gloss, it could be satin, but if we do go the gloss, there is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wood here in my hand that you just can't see until it's color sand and buffed, the whole thing. This is a beautiful choice. Then there was the walnut and butternut. These are both very beautiful. And actually, somebody called in and said if this one isn't chosen, they want it. So that one's gone too also. All right, now we have a couple choices to make now that we have our wood chosen. I'm very excited. This was actually my pick. I didn't throw my vote in with you guys, but this is one I was hoping for, kind of rooting for. I'm very excited about this. We have a few things, details we got to work out on this week. All right, now that we have chosen our wood, and I know what we'll be working on for the rest of this year, we got a choice to make now on this back. We have this sapwood here on the hackberry, and it can be on the outside edges, which you'll just catch it on this. I think you can see in the video the line we got going on here, and you can get just a little bit of that sapwood in there, and you'll have, this is not really sapwood, it's got a little it's some of that spalting, but it has that light color in it. And so we could have it like that, or we could turn it over and have the sapwood in the middle. And then if we did this, I think this would be a cool option. We could put a I can get a whole piece here, but for whatever reason this one's not all the way connected, but we could put a backstrap in the middle, and I think that would really look cool. This one has a neat subtle the color matches really well, but then I could also do this. We could put something that contrasts a little bit more, and so we'll call this, there's 2 choices really. We got to decide on this back. We got to decide, do we want the sapwood in the middle, or do we want it like this? Then do we want, here's a kind of a picture of that binding, or not binding, but backstrap right in the middle of that, but it doesn't contrast that. Do we want it sapwood in the middle, and we get one of these backstraps on there? So what you got to decide is, do you want backstrap, yes or no? And then if you do, which one? Here's number 1, and this is number 2. All right, so yes or no on a backstrap. Which one, number 1 or number 2? And then do you want sapwood in the middle, or do you want it on the outside edges? All right, there's the part of the decision for this week. Now what we need to do is we got to decide a top. Okay, so this week we have four options for the top. Number one, Birdseye Maple. Number two, you guys are going to freak when I tell you this. I almost don't want to tell you. But when I show you this wood, in fact, I've sanded it, but I haven't wiped it down. I don't even know fully what it looks like. This is Cottonwood. I know, Cottonwood. Here is some Western Red Cedar. And this is a piece of Spalted and Quilted maple. I don't know what kind of maple, but this is a special piece I've been saving. So these are our choices. What we got to do is decide what's good. What do we think is going to look good with this hackberry? All right, number one choice for the top is our piece of Birdseye Maple. And you might be saying, Byrl, you're not going to have a set now for that back that you were showing. But I ordered another one so that I would. So I'm still good if you're worried about it. Here is kind of what this would look like. Now, this could be dyed. There's a lot of options still to go. But there's kind of a thought how that could be. We could do natural, or we can stain it. We'll get to that later, but there's option number one is going to be the Birdseye Maple to go onto the top of this. Now, the one thing I'll say, this is dense and this is dense, and this is going to add a brighter tone to it. But don't get confused. I think a lot of you know, but if you don't, I'll tell you, the top of a dobro does not affect the sound as much as a guitar. So that we have more options we can go with on a dobro than you do a guitar, but it does affect it, just not as much. All right, so we can get away with a little bit more, but I will say that maple top will make it a little bit brighter. Number two, and this one I'm excited to see because I haven't actually seen it. I sanded it when I cut this on the mill. I was cutting it for a whole nother purpose, and then I got into this this figure in this piece of wood on this ash, and I just couldn't leave it alone. I'm like, you don't use ash, not that I know of, or excuse me, I said ash, cottonwood on instruments. But again, we're dealing with a dobro top. This is heavily braced, and so you can get away with more on a dobro in this way than you can on guitars. But it's got spalting in here, and hopefully you can see all that figure. Let me wet it down one more time, just make sure that you're getting it. But this has similar figure as this piece of maple we got coming up, Spalted maple. But it's really, hopefully you're seeing that. It's got real nice color. Now I will have to say, this is to be considered too. This piece, because the way it's cut, has to be positioned like this. And so what you're gonna see is really, and this is to show you what's gonna be cut out of it. So this all comes out. We could use this as a headstock if we wanted for the head plate. That's the sound hole. What's cool is you got this spalting coming right out the top of this. Heavy flame right in here. And I think it would match really good as a natural color to this. I don't know that we would want to dye it too much or stain it too much, but that would be a nice natural colored top. So that tone wood, it's softer. It's definitely not a maple. So you're gonna soften that tone. You're gonna go to, if you're familiar with how a mahogany would sound, you're gonna go that direction more than having the brightness of maple. Number three, and this is an interesting, just because, you know, I'm thinking this is kind of a brighter wood. That's what they do with rosewoods. You put a softer top on it. Western Red Cedar here, and kind of get we could do a natural top, or we could even starburst the top of this. I'd probably go natural and find the right binding for it. I've actually hadn't wiped that down and compared them. That looks really pretty too. You could see that being the top of the guitar, and that on the sides. So there's number three, Western Red Cedar. Is that right? No, American. Huh. I forget. I have to think on that. I'll come back to it. And then lastly, number 4. This is Spalted Maple, but it's a quilted Spalted Maple, and I will say it's not as dense. It's not as dense as our curly maple. This is I don't know if it's the spalting has done it to it, but it's actually got a bit. It's soft, kind of. So I would definitely say it's a soft maple, but it's absolutely gorgeous. The sad thing about this, it's like the Cottonwood, that it's directional. Actually, quite a few of these pieces are that way. And again, you can see you'll have to take, because my lower bout's down here, you'd have to take out this from this way. And so the really pretty stuff right in here would get taken out when we make this, the hole for the cone and everything. But this could be used on your head plate, and so that would really look neat. But there's, let me wipe it down one more time. Here's our quilted spalted. I've never seen, I don't think, a spalted quilted maple. Or at least I've never had any. So there's choice number 4. Effect. It's denser than your Cottonwood. It's denser than your Western Red Cedar. That's what I was trying to say. It's denser than that. And then, but it's not as dense. This is going to be your brightest one. Is going to be that. So bright meaning higher, the real punchy, louder high ends, and just maybe a punchier guitar altogether. With the Birdseye Maple. Very hard, very dense. It's going to be the heaviest one out of everything I've shown you. All right, let me do a recap. Number 1, Birdseye Maple. It's got light quilting to it. That's number 1. So you can see that good. Number 2, and I called it the wrong name earlier, but this is Cottonwood. This is actually lightly quilted cottonwood and spalted. I'm going to wipe it a little bit more. Alright. So number 2 is the Cottonwood. With that spalting, it falls nice through there. And number 3, Western Red Cedar. Give it a real classical look, or a classic, I should say. Classical guitar with classic look. And this is quarter sawn. And again, I don't really think it makes a difference on the tone, but that does give it the look of what we recognize with guitars. So number 4, beautiful piece of wood. Very special. Been saving it for quite a few years for something special. And this, I've got more of this I'm going to be using on something of my own, I believe. And this is a quilted and spalted maple. What species, I don't know. Hopefully you can see that good. And then lastly, I would say you need to make a choice between, if you want, do you want a backstrap on there or not? This is number 1 or number 2. And then you need to have sapwood to the middle or out on the edges. Alright, it's your choice. You decide. Next week we start building, and we'll have to make some more choices. So I hope if you liked it, will hit the like button. If you have not subscribed, subscribe, and stay tuned for next week, as we'll be doing a little bit of putting things together, and have some more choices for us to make.